Thank you for joining us today. I'm Teresa Bruno, host of the Soul Talks podcast. And this podcast is predominantly about survival stories, finding hope, and a path toward healing. Today, I'm so excited to have Wendy Valentine back with us. She's funny, she's joyful, she's hilarious, she's courageous, and she also helps us find our path forward to dream, to reach our dreams, to transform our grief, our sorrow, our depression into courage. She's done it herself. She speaks from personal experience. So stay tuned and listen today to Wendy. Hey there. So nice to have you back again.
Yes.
You know,
I'll just keep coming back over and over
I'll take
again.
it. I'll take it. I just was so kind of mesmerized by your story. You know, it's like I can't dig deeply enough, and I just want to hang on to all that you did to walk out of a life that was unfulfilling, that was, you know, you were just not in a great place. And here you are, what is that, only, 6 years later?
Yeah.
6 years later, you are living on the island of Madeira outside of Portugal. I really am jealous of everything you post on your Instagram. So everybody go look at Wendy's Insta. You have created this platform, you know, and it's a big platform, and you have a ton of followers and a ton of views. Yeah. So you called it the Midlife Makeover. And the first time I saw that, actually somebody called me and said, have you listened to this woman? She is hilarious. It's the Midlife Makeover podcast. And I was like, is that about like getting new hair and new makeup? Yeah. And, you know, and then I got into it, and it's not even remote. I mean, you are hilarious, and you approach things always with humor, but actually it is very much about transformation. You know, and when you constantly encourage women, especially men too, just to go, what is my big dream out here? Because that's what you did. You know, what is it that I'm either fantasizing about or visioning or want to manifest? And then you teach, you coach that. So tell me about how you came to this platform you created.
Great question. Loaded question. Well, just like on the last episode, I shared with you kind of like my breakdown to breakthrough story. And I still had not, after I moved to Chicago and I was working really hard, trying to get out of debt. And I still had, you know, I had even ordered my RV and had it ready. I was like, okay, I'm like, I'll have X amount of money by this date. I'll be ready to buy this thing, and I'm taking off. But I still had not quite figured out what I was going to do. I was like, oh, I better figure that out. I knew one thing for sure. I wanted to work remotely. I love being able to be free to just travel and do what I want when I want. And I've always been an entrepreneur. So I wanted to go back to being an entrepreneur.
And I'll just interject here because it's a really cool part of your story. I believe you started your first business when you were only 25.
Yeah, I think it might have been before that. Yes.
A
medical billing company when I was 25 years old.
But to be able to do that at 25 is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was a single mom at the time. So out of desperation, I was like, again, I wanted to work from home. So I was like, I can figure this out. So, but yeah, and then it's interesting what motivates us is to like, okay, I'm going to make this happen because I want this. And I think that we miss that a lot. Like, what kind of life do you want to live? Instead of, you know, designing your life around your career, design your career around your life. Like, let it work with you, not against you. Right. And that's what I wanted. And I wanted to be, I always wanted to be a writer, and I always wanted to have my own show. And I ended up picking up this book at the airport in Dallas. It was Kathy Heller's book called Don't Keep Your Day Job. And I read her book. And by the time I got off the plane, when I was back in Chicago, I listened to her podcast. And I was like, I want to be a podcaster. I was like, I can do that. But then I thought, well, what the heck am I going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know what the show should be about. So I hired a coach. And within 30 minutes, I realized that my niche was midlife and transforming your life. I'm like, oh my God, I totally know how to do that. I just did it. I've been doing it and still doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I thought, okay. So as I was still working this day job, I was designing my dream job at night. And then finally the time came when it was it was time to take off in the RV. And I sold everything. I got rid of everything. I mean, all I have right now is 2 suitcases, and I still have my RV back in the States waiting for me. Her name's Felicia. As in, bye, Felicia. Bye,
Yeah,
Felicia.
I got it. I got it as soon as it came out of your mouth. Bye.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. So yeah, actually, I'm doing the book tour in Felicia here in the next few months. So I'm so excited.
Oh,
I mean, I have to do it with, yeah.
And let's stop right there because I want our viewers to hear more about your book. Is it up for pre-sales or will it be soon?
It
How
will
can
be
we get
ready
it?
either end of March right now. Like if you go to womenwakingup.com, it's the wait list is on there right now. And then pretty soon, the next few weeks, it will go on to pre-order. And there's a ton of bonuses. This sucker's jam-packed, but there's $500 in bonuses when you pre-order the book. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And what I love about the book, actually, I wrote the book because it's what I needed.
Okay.
I thought, why isn't there a book out there to help this midlife woman that's going through a crisis? Like, I don't want this crisis. I mean, I truly wanted an awakening. I wanted to be a brand new woman, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to do less fluff, more formula. Less information, more transformation, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us are craving that. I mean, speak of Instagram, like we can scroll through there all day, but like, but no one's like, are we really making some changes here, people? You know? Right. So I wanted a book, a guide to help women to actually break through limiting beliefs, to uncover their passions, to change their whole life, or even just to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
I have this beautiful woman that's in my class right now. And she had realized, she's like, my life's pretty good. I'm like, and she had not really given herself credit for that. The acceptance of, okay, I'm actually pretty good. And I just want to fine tune some things. And that's okay too. So whether you're wanting minor changes or major changes, the book has it all.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. It sounds like something I need right this minute. So, two things I want to ask. One, what course are you teaching? I looked at courses on your website. So tell us about the course you're teaching.
So it is my freedom framework that I came up with while I was driving the RV.
Okay.
And
so the RV was meditation. It was driving meditation, right?
Exactly. Oh, totally. I loved it. I can't wait to be back in it again. But it's my freedom framework that is in the book. And also it's a 7-week group coaching program. I only teach it once a year. So it's like when it goes live, I'm like, you guys better buy. We're going now. So so
cool.
freedom framework. Yeah. And it literally is, no pun intended, it is a roadmap to take you from point A of angst to point B of bliss, right? It's literally, no joke, they're the same tools and techniques that I did to get me to where I'm, where I was to where I'm at now.
Okay, so question. Just going to get real personal with you because I know you love it. All right, so 5 years ago, biggest tragedy, biggest pivot in my life. I lose my husband, whole life upended.
Yep.
So rewriting, rebuilding, coming back after that. And here I am on a precipice again. Nothing like that, but a relationship ending, and I'm starting all over again when I never wanted to start all over again in the first place. Yep. So teach me what you would do with my story and me.
2 things. I think these are the 2 things that changed my life the most.
Okay.
Number 1, become your own BFF. And you do that by listening to what's going on up here, right? Because this right here will either be your best friend or your worst enemy. And you really do have to get quiet and you have to listen. Yeah. I know.
No, it's just interesting because the person who was on the podcast earlier today said almost exactly the same thing.
Same thing.
She was talking about, a really big pivot point in her life. And she said, you have to get quiet and you have to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And then I was interviewing, foremost leader in grief research yesterday, Dr. Katie Eastman, and she said the same thing. She said,
Yeah,
you've got to get
it's
quiet.
true.
You've got to listen. Your truth will come forward. And I've
Yeah.
always talked a lot about being quiet. I've talked about meditation and prayer.
Mm.
They're part of my everyday life. But I love it that all of these women have come forth in the last few days, just emphasizing that to me. And I'm like, okay, Spirit, I hear you. I always say
Yeah.
Spirit whispers, but he's screaming right now at me,
Yes.
saying,
Yep.
get still and listen. Okay, so make myself
And
my
I would
best.
say that I will add to that. It's not even so much as getting quiet, but it's almost like, okay, if you were watching the news and you see that ticker tape going across, if those were your thoughts, what kind of news is being told inside your mind?
Right.
And the key is to have the cheerleader be louder than your critic. And you have to catch it immediately. And as soon as you hear any type of self-doubt or those nasty little limiting beliefs that creep up,
Yep.
you go, you're like, I call it my stop, drop, and roll method. You're like, and you drop it and then you
Rewrite.
roll in. Yeah.
Yep.
Roll in with a positive affirmation, whatever works for you. But in its repetition, it's consistency, doing that over and over and over again, to where it's the coolest habit to actually have. That no matter what is happening throughout your day and some negative thought pops in, you're like, ooh, bye. Like, bye, Felicia. Yeah. Bye. That's what I should call it.
Do
So
you remember that story? What you're saying to me is a core belief of mine, but I have to check in with it 3 times a day at a minimum, is thoughts create your life.
Totally.
Do you remember that story, of Wayne Dyer teaching the class, and it's the orange? Do you remember that?
Yes. Yep.
And he says to these group of young students, if I were to squeeze this orange, what's going to come out? They're laughing at him. They're kind of making fun of him. They're like, well, Dr. Dyer, orange juice is going to come out. And he's like, well, are you sure? Like, would lemon juice come out or grapefruit juice come out? And they're all just cracking up. And they said, no, orange juice, 100%. Orange juice is going to come out. And so he said, okay, what's like that with your life? Whenever you're squeezed, what is really inside of you, what your core beliefs are, your values, your spiritual practices, your path, that's what's gonna come out. If you have this positive self-talk, this positive narrative, and life comes at you with stuff, because it does all the time, what's going to come out is your belief system to say, I can do it. I can overcome this, or I can change my life, or I can transform this to be better.
Yeah. I think I could be wrong on who said this. I think it was Gandhi that said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony.
Yeah. All right. So you gave me number 1 as you're counseling me. Be my own best friend, basically.
Yep. So going back to the last episode, right, when I was telling you, I was excited about the RV, but I was more so excited about the woman that would be driving this RV.
I love that so much.
So I sat down and I journaled about this woman that I aspired to be. This version, 2.0, it was probably 50.0 by then. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start acting like this woman. My Aunt Annie told me, she's like, darling, you always wanted to be an actress. So why don't you just start acting like her? I was like, I can do that. So I literally every single morning when I would get out of bed, I'd put these slippers on and I would pretend those were the slippers of this new Wonder Wendy. And I had it down to the detail. Like, how does she walk? How does she walk into a room? How does she smile? How does she speak? How does she eat? How does she take care of her body? How does she take care of her mind? Everything to the detail. And I just every day, just like you said, consistency. Every day I stepped into the shoes of this new woman. And then eventually I was like, then I
am her. But that's that's what we're taught you have more designations as coach of this and coach of that, and you've taken more classes and are affiliated in more ways than I've ever seen on anybody's bio. But it is like that number 1. I know I was looking at it, I was daunted. I was like, I haven't done any of this. But it's like what we're taught, and what we read about it in terms of rule number one for manifesting.
Mhm.
The way you get in life what you want is first to vision and dream it.
Yeah.
You want the RV, and then you want to be this woman who's acting very differently in life than the woman you had
Yeah.
been. And then you journal it, write it,
Yeah.
live into it, paste it, sticky notes everywhere to remind you of that.
I'm going to give you a third.
Okay.
A lot of times, speaking of learning, right? Because you were
Yeah.
talking about all the different, we think we need to learn something new, but we really don't. It's the unlearning.
Oh
And
gosh.
if you think about, so it's Michelangelo, you were just in Italy, right?
Yeah.
So when they asked him, like, how did you carve the statue of David? He had this gigantic block of marble in front of him. How'd
Hmm.
you carve him? He's like, oh, it was easy. I just carved away everything that was not him.
Oh, I love that. And
I know, right?
I've studied art my whole life and I haven't heard that one.
Yes. So when you think about, especially like it's the beauty of midlife, you arrive and you're like, wait a minute, how did I get here? How did all this happen? And who the hell am I? And you pick up that chisel and anything that comes along, it's like, okay, that's really not me. I don't agree with that belief or that thought, or this relationship doesn't work for me, or this job doesn't work for me. You just start chiseling and chiseling and chiseling. And then eventually you reveal this beautiful angel in the marble.
I love that. And it connects to, I mean, there are a lot of buzzwords around. I'm very much
Mhm.
about encouraging people, to let go of their limiting beliefs. You
Yeah.
teach that. There's also the rewriting your narrative thing,
Mm.
that we use those words, but it's exactly what you're saying. The visual, I think, helps us so much
Yeah.
to hang on to. Okay, there's this block of granite, and it's not about creating the beautiful
Yeah.
David in the middle. It's just
Yeah.
what isn't him.
Mhm.
That
Exactly.
is gorgeous and
Yeah, it's
easy to hang
what
on
is
to.
not you. Yeah, what is
Yeah.
not you. I mean, if you think about it, here another analogy. If you didn't take the garbage out for months and months, it stink quite a bit, but it piles up and piles up and it's overflowing, right? So we have to take out our garbage. You're like,
Yeah.
even now, like even after you like, okay, you've revealed the angel in the marble. Yay! Well, we're going to pick up some more garbage along the way. We still have to consistently kind of detox, if you will, our mind and our beliefs. And we have to do these check-ins with
Yeah.
ourselves. Like, is this working for me?
So I have two
Yeah.
questions for you in closing.
Okay.
Okay, so the woman you envisioned behind the wheel, the woman you wrote
Yeah.
about, the woman you stepped into the slippers, every night and walked around and learned how to be her, walk like her,
Yeah.
think like her, smile like her. What does she look like today?
Right here.
Okay. But I guess what I'm really asking is, did it shift? Did it change after that 2-year
Oh, I see
journey?
what you're saying. Like the woman that I envisioned.
Right.
Yeah, I'm her. I've become
So
her.
what you wrote
I'm
envisioned is
yeah.
really everything you wanted for now.
Mhm. And as a recovering perfectionist,
Hmm.
which that was one of my goals. Yeah.
Yes.
People pleaser, codependent, will you still love me if I act like this? I had to let go of all that. And the biggest thing was loving Wendy for Wendy. Who's Lindy? Loving Wendy for Wendy. And even that itself, like the old Wendy be like, I can't believe I said that. I totally tripped over my tongue. It's okay. It's okay. Just goof up. Like it doesn't matter. So loving Wendy for Wendy was the greatest thing I did for myself.
Okay, second question.
Yes.
You dreamed it, you did it. Now you're in the midst of this really amazing platform. You've written a book, you coach, you've got a class, you've got a podcast. What are you
Yeah.
dreaming for next?
Oh, good question. The second book.
Yeah? Do you have a title?
And possibly a Netflix series.
Right there with
I
you.
know. I'm like, it could happen. It could happen. I mean, look at me. I should be on Netflix.
I agree with you, Wendy.
Do you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you what the book is about and why I should
Yes.
have a Netflix series really
Yes.
quick? So probably since a teenager, I've journaled,
Mm-hmm.
and I would journal every single morning. And when I would complete a journal, I would leave it in an airport.
I read that and I thought
Did
that
you
was
read that?
phenomenal. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
was like, this is the coolest thing ever. You leave pieces of your life and you're kind of done with them and you're sharing them. And can you imagine being in an airport and picking up this journal and just reading about this person and you have no
exactly.
idea? That is really cool.
So my goal is, if you will, or my idea for the story is that whoever finds my journals throughout like the entire world, that whatever they're going through in their life happened to be what I was going through in my life. Like
Because
whether, I mean, I lost my husband, he was 26 years old, from losing my brother to divorce times two, like whatever it is. I mean, it's trauma orama in those journals, but there's also, right?
yes.
But there was also those pages that would be like, hey, the sun is shining, yay. And just the transformation that would take place for all those journals, and the transformation that could take place for others.
And
So
I always say, when you're ready for spiritual growth, when you're ready for that, whatever it is you're seeking or
yeah.
want, or open your heart and mind up for, the universe delivers. So
Oh,
those journals, you're exactly right. They are going into the hands of somebody who meets you right where you were when you
yeah.
wrote them and needed
Yeah.
what you were saying, right?
Yep.
Wendy, you've
Exactly.
been fun and funny as usual. You've been soulful and you've taught me today. Thank you. I've
Yeah.
loved sitting here
Thank
with you and
you.
wish we had hours and hours more.
Our souls love getting along together and chit
Absolutely.
chatting.
I'm on my way to
Yeah.
Madeira. Make room.
Yeah.
I can't
Prepare
wait
to
to
have
talk
fun.
again. Thank you so, so much. You're so
Thank
courageous.
you.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for listening and sharing in Wendy's story. Gosh, she makes me really want to get up and do some big and courageous and, really transformational things with my life. I hope you took courage from her and excitement and, a willingness to dream big. I'll see you next week. Take care and take hope.